Hi everyone, this is Rion Paper. In today's video, I wanted to show you what my planners look like for the month of May. So we're gonna do a little flip through, talk you through what's been going on. But before we get started, would you look at this? So we had the most fun family weekend last weekend because my parents had their 40-year wedding anniversary. So we rented a little house somewhere in like a super nice region of the Netherlands, and we just had a great weekend together with the family. And at some point, I saw my mother pick a pen from her pen case, which is this cute little tin. And I mentioned how much I like it. And she was like, oh, I was actually going to throw it away because like it's so old and battered. And apparently this thing is older than I am. I saw on the site that it's made in 1989. But I just like it so much. Like, it's so colorful and it has this floofy cat on the front that looks a little bit like one of our cats. So yeah, now I have this very old pen case and I love it. It's great. It's not the most practical though, because it doesn't fit that many pens. And I don't like how if you put this in your bag, then you will hear, because it's like metal, it makes a lot of noise. So that's kind of annoying, but it's really nice to just put on the desk. So yeah, that's just a fun little thing. Thank you, Mom, for letting me keep the things you wanted to throw away. Let's start with this plan actually. So, May in my Common Planner A5, I've enjoyed using this planner. I've enjoyed using it every day so far, but in the beginning of the year, I kept saying that I was definitely gonna get the same planner next year. I'm actually thinking about maybe not getting this specific Common Planner next year because I just keep not writing so much in it. It's just like it has so much space, which I mean, that's amazing, but I don't need that much space, apparently. So let's see. We have my trackers. For this month, I switched up the colors a little bit. So where last month I used green to color in these little boxes, I use yellow for this month, and I will probably use the blue for June, the same blue that I used in this graph. So then we have 3 colors on the page, which is just a little bit more fun than just black and white, even though I still really like how this looks. But yeah, my sleep has been a bit all over the place. I got the most hours of sleep for the past 2 months on one day, but also there are quite some days where I slept 6 hours or less than 6 hours, which is not ideal. In general, I've been quite tired in May. I don't know if it's because like the changes in the weather, where some days really feel like a hot, humid summer's day already, but then others are still super rainy and cold. And I don't know, I always feel like my body performs better when the weather is a bit more stable. But yeah, I've been a bit tired, not sleeping fantastically, but I mean, it's not terrible either. My focus has also not been that high for this month. In general, I think this month was, I don't know, in terms of energy and productivity, it was kind of a rest month, I suppose. If you look at your productivity cycles in terms of like the seasons, where some seasons you're like working really hard and you're like sewing and like taking care of, I don't know, the garden that is your productivity, and then a bit later you're harvesting things. There's also the season of rest where you just sort of, I don't know, you feel that your body and mind just needs to recover a bit. I feel like that was May for the most part. Just not the most productive and energized, but I don't really feel too bad about it. Of course, I had to make a couple mistakes on the pages. So at some point I put a dot in the wrong place, and here I put a box in the wrong place. I don't know, it doesn't really matter. It does annoy me, but you know, that's good. That's good. You have to see these mistakes every day in order to learn that it's okay. It's just a planner. As you can see, my language learning, which is the second to last column, was abysmal in May. I didn't do anything except for Duolingo on most days, but I didn't do any additional language learning. I don't know. I guess it's because I was quite tired. I also didn't read a lot. I played the piano quite some days, which I'm actually quite happy about. But yeah, in general, like exercise was all right-ish. Eating fruit, meditating, everything was like just all right, but it was not the best month in terms of my motivation to just do these arguably rather easy things. Then let's take a look at the monthly planner, the monthly spread. I found this one. I used colored pen for the first time. I think most months I just use black. I found the contrast, while it's like fun to look at, I found the contrast to be not the low contrast. Wait, let's phrase this differently. Because the text stands out less, it looks pleasant, but it's a bit harder to read and to quickly focus on what's going on. I do like how I made something stand out by just, drawing a box around them. That's actually super simple, but I don't know, somehow I never think about things like that. But it does make it look nice. So yeah, like I said, last weekend we were away with the family, and my brother-in-law took care of our cats. So really thankful that he did that, because that way we could leave the cats at home, and they're always super stressed when we have to take them elsewhere. So I'm glad that they could just stay at home. They probably slept the entire weekend, except for when, my brother-in-law came over to give them food and get some cuddles. But yeah, that was great. That made me feel so much more at ease than when we had to bring them elsewhere. What else? Oh yeah, I already set up the next month, and I tried something. I didn't want to have any decoration inside the boxes for like the month, in part because there are so many days where I don't really know if I need to write something, so I don't want to cover up the box already, but also because like in a month like this, or even April, there was just too much going on visually. So I thought, okay, we're just going to frame the calendar with decoration and then keep the rest of the calendar open. But then I remembered that I had to put like a tiny garden to-do list somewhere, but I had already covered up all of the sidebars and like the bar at the bottom. So I just stuck in this little tip in so that I can take it out when I've remembered to prune this little thing in our front yard. These stickers are from the Washi Tape Shop, by the way, as is the washi tape. And I would say they look like they are one set because they go so well together in terms of color, but it's actually like two completely different products. The flowers are, I think, from the cottage something set. I'll link it down in the description if you wanted to check it out. But these flowers they're so gorgeous. And these very thin strips of washi are from the, I think it's called Floral something. I'll link that one down below as well, which has a ton of floral and just, colored washi, very thin washi, which are very fun to work with. I don't have a lot of them. And the Washi Tape Shop actually sent me a package of some of their products, which I'm super thankful for. These are also from that. I will show all of the products in another video, but it just couldn't help myself and already had to use some of it. If you wanted to pick any of this up or take a look at what they have, I do have a discount code for the Washi Tape Shop. It's RionPaper10. If you wanted to grab yourself a 10% discount, I can really recommend them. The products are really, really pretty. I've been using them for years, way before they ever discovered my channel, way before I even had a channel. So yeah, not that much written in yet, except for like a vet appointment, some reminders on which bin to put out for like the bin collection day. I've written in the Dutch Pen Show, which is in 2 days. It's Friday now, and I'm super excited for that. Also because it's in Utrecht, and I used to live in Utrecht actually, so that place will probably forever feel like home, like one of my homes. So many fond memories. So yeah, really excited to go there by train and visit my very first pen show. And then we have the weekly pages. So this was the first week of May. I decided to do a little decoration like in the middle of the page, which I kind of liked. Didn't really use it as a divider as much as I could have. Like, it's not really specific categories, it's just like a couple of lists. But I think this could work really well if you have, like, for example, a day specific to-do list and a non-day specific, maybe project-based to-do lists. That way you can really divide them. I normally would put the divider line a bit higher because I normally don't have that many things that I have to do specifically on that day, but I do have a lot of stuff that I have to schedule in somewhere during the week. But yeah, very simple, very quick deco, very functional. And this week, I don't know, does not really bring me any joy. I stuck down some flower stickers, and I mean, I like the flower stickers, but they feel very, like, the fact that I didn't use any divider line or any washi makes it feel very, I don't know, not grounded, not anchored to the page. It just feels a bit random, like some scattered flowers. And I also didn't use my planner that much this week. So yeah, that's that. I really loved this deco. It was super simple. It is just one set with like 3 tapes that I had from, I think, AliExpress. I've had it for ages. It doesn't really stick that well, which is a bit annoying. And, you know, that's a bit of a recurring problem with especially some of the like slightly like cheaper products, that sometimes the glue on them is not really good. And it will either not stick well or it will show through after a while on the next page. I had that with an old journal. Like, I was looking through one of my hobonichis to find some information a while back, and I saw that I had used one specific washi tape, like a very, very cheap one that I used to use a lot. And the glue had completely discolored parts of the next page. It was really weird and looked really bad. So I don't know if this tape will do that as well, if other tapes will do that as well. But yeah, I guess time will tell. Kind of didn't make a to-do list for these 2 videos, but I did make like a cute little tracker. And I decided this week that I wanted to put 2 projects as sort of the focus project of the week, so that when I had a bit of free time, this was the thing that I was going to be working on. Obviously, I could do some, you know, just chill things, but these were the projects that I was going to be working on. And that just really helped me to not have any sort of analysis paralysis where I just couldn't choose anything because I had a little bit of time and the list was too long. Now I could just say, okay, if I have a spare hour, I'm going to be working on my garden journal until it is complete. And it is now up to date. So that worked really great. This was last week. So I went for a bit of a vintage theme, used some stickers and things that are a bit more out of my comfort zone. But I really had fun decorating this. I think it is not really my color palette, but it does look fairly balanced, I think. Like, the visual weight is all right. So that was just something that I was playing with. Yeah, so here I decided to have a specific to-do list for every day. At the top of the page, didn't have anything for the weekend because we were away. And then at the bottom for some specific projects and a bit of a tracker. Quite functional, quite easy, and something that I think works really well for me. Just having that combination of day-specific tasks and like unscheduled project-based tasks. I like that. That kind of works. And then this is this week. Really happy with these 3 stickers that I used from London Gifties. They are so beautiful. And like these 2 are very rainy weather. This one is a bit more sunny. Perfectly sums up the weather of the week. I have some tiny day-specific things for like the second half of the week. And that's because I only set up this page on Wednesday. We came home on Monday from a weekend away, and then I didn't really do much on Tuesday, I think. It was a bit of a chaotic day where I just sort of, I don't know, ran around without my head on my shoulders. That's what it felt like. And then Wednesday I was like, okay, first I need to set up the page and write down what I need to get out of my brain on paper so that I have room in my brain to actually focus on some tasks. So that's what I did. Nothing too crazy. Plenty of room left, I feel. But yeah, sometimes tasks just take a bit longer. Like sometimes you have a lot of very small tasks, very short tasks. And like I like that planner-wise because it makes the week look very full, even though it's very manageable to get everything done. But other times, a task is just quite big and it will be like one line in this planner, but it will take up like 2 days. So I could maybe try and, split that task up into smaller chunks so that the planner looks more like aesthetic, but I don't know. I don't know if that's something that I should be, what's the word that I should be promoting? Like, we just want to keep it real. And if it turns out pretty, it turns out pretty. If it turns out all right, that's also fine. So yeah, that's this week. I have not decorated next week yet. And let's just have a bit of tea before we go to the daily pages. All right. And again, for this month, I haven't used my planner, like the back pages of my planner, that much. I call them daily pages. I don't use them daily. I don't use 1 page a day. I did finally finish my Tortured Poets department spread that I think last month I had started but not finished yet. So it fit perfectly on 2 pages. Really pleased with that because I had already started on the next page writing some other things down. So this was mostly still April, I think. Yeah. And then this was May. Kind of a weird half empty page that I wasn't really feeling in terms of how it looked. So at one point I just skipped to the next page. I love how this page looks though. I used 3 stickers from London Gifties. I put this one circle sticker in the middle of the page, like in the, what's it called? Like the fold of the page. I don't know how people do this without it looking weird. Like with a washi tape, I would usually cut this line. But I obviously don't want to do that with the illustration. But like, how do people do this? Give me tips if you know how to do this without it sort of making the page all weird. Because like, yeah, it's a bit like lopsided. That's just my fault. But it's also like there's a bit of room in the bottom that will just sort of keep pulling this page up. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being too particular about this. However, I love these decorations and I paired them with an ink called Diamine Terracotta, which is a super warm brownish red ink. Looks so nice. But yeah, I used this page for more than a week. Is that true? Yeah, even almost 2 weeks. Like I started with an entry on Friday 17, then we had Saturday, Sunday, then I skipped a couple days. So we have Thursday 23, then we have the weekend, And then we have Wednesday 29. So I don't know. I don't really feel like writing every day. I could definitely get into the habit of doing that, but not an entire page. Absolutely not. That is just too much. I tried in the beginning of the year, and I only really managed to do that like for the first week or so, when I was like really motivated to do that. But yeah. And this is this week, which looks kind of cute. I've used Diamine 3 Kings as the ink, which pairs reasonably well with the decoration. It's not a perfect match, but it's fine. I love the ink, so had a lot of fun writing with this. But yeah, so I used like 5 pages for this month. So I have so much space left. I do want to talk a bit about what I was writing here, but before I do that, I want to go for a quick flip through of the N1 common planner. So this planner I use for tracking my mood and also for just keeping track of appointments and logging my media consumption, mostly the things that I watch, like movies, series, and yeah, that's it basically. Okay, so my mood this month has been quite good. There have been some days that I rated a 2, which isn't great, but there weren't very long periods where I rated the day like 3 or 2, or like there were 0 ones, so that's good. There was one peak to a 5. I still remember which day that was. Both my partner and I had the day off, and the weather was super nice, so we went on a cycling adventure, and we biked all the way to Germany, which sounds very dramatic, but we live very close to the border. So yeah, it really feels like when you're surrounded by, a different language, and all the signs around you look different, but even like the buildings, etc., look just very different. You can immediately tell that it's not the Netherlands anymore. It just really feels like you're on a little holiday. So that was a really, really fun day. Then this was my colored mood tracker for the month. A bit all over the place. I like how, it's obvious how there's a very big difference between the right-hand page and the left-hand page, with all of the relaxed green days being on the right-hand side. I mean, it makes sense for the weekends, but why Thursday and Friday? Why do I tend to feel more at ease or more calm on Thursdays and Fridays? Well, I would say that I prefer like Mondays and Tuesdays. Like I tend to start the week on a positive note because, it's sort of a new start, new beginning. But my planner does not reflect that. I tend to be quite stressed on Mondays and Tuesdays. I'm like either very productive or just stressed and anxious. So yeah, that's something to think about. Let's see. Then we have the weekly pages. So this was the first week of May. I used this very nice illustration from my tearaway calendar. We blocked the weekend for working in the garden. Then, this was the week we started watching Broadchurch, and it is an older show. I don't know how I missed that. Well, I didn't really miss it. I knew it existed, and I heard great things about it, and I put it on my list, and then forgot about it for 10 years or so. But it's such a good show. We will probably start the last season today. I watched it together with my partner, and we were really trying to force ourselves to not binge watch it and to actually go to bed at a good time. But good series, good show, can recommend. Like this illustration as well. feels very Japanese. Which, I mean, it makes sense. All of these pictures are from Japan. I should have clarified. Let's see. This washi tape doesn't stick at all. Luckily, it's just there for show because I glue the pictures down as well. Nothing too special this week. I try to match the color that I use for every entry with a color that either also appears in the illustration or something that matches well with it. And sometimes I fail because this green doesn't match the illustration at all, I think, but that's fine. And yeah, then this is this week. I like this color a lot, the color of the matcha and the color that I used from the Tombow. Reminds me a lot of Diamine Salamander, the fountain pen ink. So yeah, my weeks in here look super boring. And that is also why I think about changing this up next year. I have a lot of thoughts and a lot of ideas about what I'm gonna do with my system next year. And maybe in part also for like the second half of 2024. And I will talk about that in a video somewhere near the end of June, I think. Just looking back at the first 6 months and just seeing, what worked and what am I going to change? How do I get the most out of my current system, but also what would need to change in order to make my system for next year work better than this one. So yeah, I use the back pages for simple daily to-do lists. Most of it is not decorated at all. Most of it is in my ugly handwriting. I mean, not that my normal handwriting is really pretty, but if you think this isn't pretty, you have not seen my ugly handwriting yet. So yeah, before I end the video, I wanted to talk a little bit about this entry. If you are not interested in fountain pens or fountain pen inks, you can probably stop watching around here because this is an entry that's about my preparation for the Dutch Pen Show. So yeah, I noticed that I was getting quite overwhelmed because the pen show on Sunday is going to be my first pen show ever. There will be somewhere around like 75 like vendors and stores, and there will be lots of people, obviously. I'm a big introvert. I mean, I love meeting new people. I love having like conversations about something that we both enjoy. In this case, like everything surrounding fountain pens. But I also know that I'll be quite overwhelmed by the end of the day. So I need sort of a game plan. Like, what am I gonna do? What are the things I want to look at? Is there something specific I want to buy? Are there some people I really want to talk to? So I don't really know how to prepare. So I just went through the vendor list and looked at like the specific stores and brands that I was like, yeah, I definitely want to visit them and either ask something specific or look at a specific pen if they have it. So just to name some things, I have a couple of pens on my sort of soft wish list. It's not like I'm definitely gonna get these pens. It's more like I really like these pens, and at some point I should figure out if I want to save up for these. But again, sometimes it's really hard to judge a color online, even with like good pictures, good videos. Sometimes you just really have to see the pen for yourself. And that is kind of what I'm going to use the pen show for. I do intend on maybe buying a pen, but I don't really know which specific one yet. But I do know that there are some pens that I really want to have a look at. I'm particularly interested in the Leonardo Mosaico in sand. I'm really interested in seeing the color of the sand resin because sometimes on pictures it looks really gray, sometimes it looks really brown. And I'm really interested in the Mosaico pattern in it. I haven't seen many people in the fountain pen community who have that specific pen. I mean, they are probably there, but I haven't really come across them, so I'm really curious because based on some of the pictures, I think I will really like that pen. But you know, it's an expensive pen, so I want to see it first. Same goes for the Leonardo Sorrento. That is one that when I saw it on the pictures of Stilo e Stile, I absolutely love it. Like, it looks like exactly my kind of blue. And then I saw it in a video. I don't remember by whom, but I was like, I don't think I actually like the color. So I'm really interested in seeing that, like, in the flesh. I mean, it has no flesh, but like seeing that pen in real life and deciding, like, is this my kind of blue or is it not? The same goes for the Delta Intesa in Petrol. I haven't seen that one really in the Netherlands, but I know that Delta will be there at the pen show. So I'm hoping that they have the pen, or like maybe I could at least talk to them about it. Because I think it's really pretty, but I'm a bit hesitant, you know, ordering. I saw that I can order it from Italy, but you know, what if I don't like it? Do I want to send it back or do I sell it? Like, it would be so much easier to just, you know, see it in person first. I really want to visit some of the small makers, particularly Giant Pens. Giant Pens are a Dutch small makers run by two brothers. And I've seen some of their pens on Instagram and they look gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. They make a lot of like interesting resins and interesting pen models, also for like bigger hands. They make some bigger pens, they make some smaller pens. There's a lot of diversity there. And I would love to see some of their pens because, you know, when do we ever get the chance to see multiple pens by a specific small maker and just, you know, have a look? Because they're usually not in stores. So yeah, that's really cool. And then of course inks. I mean, inks are my true weakness in the fountain pen realm. I want to definitely check out the table of Robert Oster, to have a look at all of their beautiful swatches and see some of the colors with my own eyes. Their inks are a little bit more expensive in the Netherlands, so, and for some of them you can find swatches, but for others not really. So I think it will really help to be able to see some of these inks and decide if it's a color that is special enough to get it, or if maybe it's too similar to something that I already have. Then there are also some ink brands that, or just brands that have inks that I've never seen before. Shanghai Stationery from the Netherlands is one. They have a couple inks on their website that look beautiful. I'm really curious to check those out. And the same goes for Journal This. I've heard, I think it was Shauna from Serial Nana talk about that, about one of their inks called Pinked. And they have a couple inks that look really nice, and that are quite affordable. So I'm curious to see if they have something interesting that I'd like to pick up. And then there's obviously Pannonia. I think I may have mentioned that in another video, but Pannonia has these shimmer potions that are like liquid shimmer that you can add to a fountain pen ink. And for some of the colors, like obviously everyone knows what like gold or silver looks like, but they have some shimmers where I'm like, how does a beige shimmer work? Like, what do I see when I look at a beige shimmer? I don't know. Somehow that just doesn't really work in my brain. So I'm really curious to see if they have swatches of all of the liquid shimmers that they have, so that I can see if there's something where like, oh, I would love to play around with this one. So yeah, I'll check those out for sure, and maybe pick something up or put it on the wish list for later. I'm interested to see if any of the stores that are present carry Colorverse or Lennon Toolbar, two brands that I haven't tried. But yeah, the specific companies like Colorverse and Lennon Toolbar are not present at the Dutch Pen Show, but who knows? Maybe someone carries them. So yeah, that is my preparation for the pen show. I also know that the Dutch Pen Club will have a table for a little meet and greet, so I would love to talk to some of the folks there. And you know, I've seen some of their names, but I don't really have a face to the name. So that will be lovely, I hope. Yeah, I think that's it. I've rambled for more than half an hour again, so I'll stop wasting your time. No, I'm really, really glad you're here. I'm really glad that you watched the video. Thank you so much. And yeah, I hope May was a good month in your planners. And we are approaching the halfway mark of the year, which feels absolutely crazy. But I don't know about you, but especially near the end of June, like I do feel that sort of new start of the second half of the year. So if things have not been going so well in your planner, I hope that you can find some of that fresh energy for the next 6 months after June. So thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great day. Bye!